Hello? Let me see if it's on. Oh, sweet. So, obviously, the severity of the information, they suspended it. Let me see if there's anything on the email. Oh, they interrupted it because it's a copyright. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to post up this instead. Hmm. They don't like it when the store when you use their own story for them, you know. Like I said, YouTube's a strange place. So, judging by what they were saying on the video, let me see if I can get the unplug this because it's so loud. What does that mean? That's mean. So, judging by what they're saying, she used false pretenses to get children. She thought she was a reincarnation of God, of Jesus Christ. Let's see if I can get the screen. So, these children suffered. Oh, hi there. So, this is just one of these lives where like um I'll just talk my way through it basically. This lady is very wicked. Let's start with that first and foremost. Not only did she hurt the children and that, um she she also was able to get single mothers and to give up their children, and also able to do great or horrible things. And that's why the man said he's glad that she died when she died of dementia. So these children here really suffered, you know. So um, as much as YouTube interrupted the build, by what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put the links underneath the video because they're interrupting important points because you're hearing from the people themselves directly, right? And that's why I wanted to play the ones with just the voices in the background like I normally do, but it was taking a mickey out of this situation so much I couldn't bring myself to play it. So I thought I'd play the actual video because it seemed like when people are looking into things like cults, it come like a ha 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 moment. It's not a ha 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 moment because the people who suffer through these cults, especially children, particularly, you know, when someone thinks they're more superior than the members is the worst. So these children has grown up now, you know. I mean, might have to come back and do a bit, but I know, but like those who was here earlier heard the story before, so I'm not going to repeat the story over because I'm sure YouTube will do strange things again, which is why I said I have to have the backup. Now these children, you know, dunking and all this craziness when they disobeyed them, and the mother, hi Sunkiss, the mother and the father, the Hamiltons. Let me get the video, the little slide I done of it. The Hamiltons got the children under false pretenses, an adoption situation. They were able to doctor the certificates and all sorts. And I'm sure this goes on now, okay? But though this is a cult, you know, she said the house, she is a reincarnation of Jesus Christ, which is nothing new there. Yeah. I mean, she said she was a reincarnation of Jesus Christ. Even how they met was really different because she was into mysticism and into certain arts already. So he was attracted to her for that. So the two of them, one wasn't telling the other to stop. Right, and obviously she was the one who wore the trousers in the relationship. So as much as YouTube interrupted the live, where we would have got more history of the couple together. So it would have put more meat on the bones per se. Right, they are really two disgusting people. Hi, Big Philly. Anyways, I'm gonna play the background.
Cult in Australian history.
The family was led by Anne Hamilton Byrne, who stole hundreds of children and kept them in a secluded house just outside of Melbourne in the 80s.
The infamous leader died this week, aged 98.
She was one of the country's most notorious cult leaders, responsible for stealing children through adoption scams.
I love children.
Anne Hamilton Byrne was the founder of The Family, a cult where she convinced people she was the reincarnation of Jesus. The cult was made famous by images of children with bleached blonde bowl cuts and matching outfits. The family was finally broken up when police raided the property in 1987, and the children were rescued. Anne Hamilton Byrne was fined $5,000 for falsifying birth documents, but she was never charged with abuse.
And former Detective Lex de Man, who worked on this case, joins us now from Melbourne. Good morning to you. I think the first question...
Okay, because I played it before, I'm going to play the other bit.
She was one of the country's most notorious cult leaders, responsible for stealing children through adoption scams and subjecting them to beatings and starvation.
I love children.
Today, Anne Hamilton Byrne, founder of The Family, died in a nursing home.
The most evil person that I've ever met.
Lex de Man is the former detective who spent years investigating Hamilton Byrne, who believed she was the reincarnation of Jesus.
I can say is that the investigation has been an extremely difficult investigation, and I believe that the actions that were taken recently with the arrest of them has been magnificent.
He learned of her death today from children who were raised at her property at Lake Eildon.
They were kept there, all from society, ill-treated by sect members, and the children did not know what we call a normal upbringing.
She had claimed 27 children came through her hands, but at its peak, the family had 500 members based in Dandenongs.
She intermarried cult members if they got too familiar.
Her property was raided in 1987 and children were rescued. The only penalty Hamilton Byrne ever faced was a $5,000 fine for the perjury of birth documents.
I take a lot of consolation from the fact that a conviction was made today, and that Anne and Bill Hamilton Byrne did actually face some aspect of the law for what they did.
But Mr. DeMann believes the full extent of allegations against her could never be made.
In the end, I have a personal view that justice was never done.
Madeline Slattery, 9 News.
Sorry, my connection's a bit funny, a bit weird. Hold up. The connection's weird where I'm sitting. So, let me move on. Now, you know when I normally go through all the cults, I normally give great details of the cults, okay? But because YouTube cut me off in the middle of bringing information about the couple, right, I might have to do a part 2 on this one because I like it when a psychology is spoken about. Because like I said, every cult is different. The way the leader's mind work is different. They're never all the same. They're the same in how they produce themselves. Hiya, Miss Wise. They're different in how they bring themselves or how they deal with their members. Now, like I said, she also had single mothers who gave up their children to her. She also, like as they said, doctored the papers, and she was very harsh on them, very, very, very harsh on them. There's supposed to be a documentary on this one as well, this particular cult here. Being that it's set in Australia, it's very notorious, because they call it a notorious cult in Australia. So, my detail, normally, I'm normally quite detailed with the cults. Well, this one was a little more harder to get more stuff on it. It's quite limited as well, because I feel because she died at 98, it's very limited. They seem to have more on the other ones, the more notorious one. She is known as an apocalyptic cult because she wanted all the children to look the same. She wanted to remake a whole nother set of people. So this one is, a bit more, I'll say, weird in more than ever. And the fact that there's not right, you really have to really look for this particular cult as well. There's this one and the Moonies. The people, I don't know. But yeah, this one is just based mostly on children. Mostly, there's no adults involved in this one as much. The adults are just there to make the children. It's like a baby making factory kind of situation. That's what she set up basically. So This one is not as detailed as much because the children, they did escape, or a few of them escaped, and that's how they got her. So it's really cut and what you call it? I can't think of the word. It's more straightforward than the other ones. Where the other ones, it was more difficult. They had more difficulty getting the other ones. So this one's quite a short build. So because I was on earlier and I got cut off, I'm not gonna push YouTube to the limit. I'm going to add the links because Alexis said she's seen them before anyway as well. And I'm sure other people have seen them. And maybe this is where they got the idea of the Children of the Corn from. So that's from what I'm seeing of the children. Oh, pardon me. Hold up. So it's not going to be much of a build on this one, unfortunately, because I can't proceed because I have to put in the details in for people to understand. Because when you just got the bones and not much, you can't really get the gist of the story. So I might do a part 2. I don't know. I'll see how I feel about this one. But if I find that it's not really much in it I'm just gonna move on to the next cult. Because we need to get through most of the cults. There's so many cults to get through. So many. I think I've only got about a couple more cults to do, plus to do one on the sexual exploitation of men and women in the cults. Okay? So sorry this is a very short one because I had to restart it again. So it's pointless. I'm going into all the spiel because they don't want me to show the video. They got them down as copyrights. So I'm going to add the link and you can go take a look because cults, like I said, cults are very interesting. There is also a diet cult as well, which I'm going to take a look at as well. So there's really not much to say really on this one. Yeah, but anyway, thank you Sunkiss from Cult for coming through. Big Philly OG and Miss Wise. Because there's not a lot to say and I don't wanna go all over the place on this one. It'd be pointless. Because you need all the facts to break it down properly. But there's not a lot of facts on this one. Because the news article is quite straightforward and she's the children's happy she died. The detective particularly, he was happy that she died. I didn't bother replay the thing over because it's quite clear what type of woman she was. So with that said, I'm gonna come off. This one's gonna be a short one, unfortunately. But I was gonna make it a short one anyway. So everybody, thank you for coming through. The next one, hopefully there'll be more meat on the bones, more for us to go pick through and talk about because it's nice when we interact and talk about it. It makes more sense. Yeah, so I am gonna go. Okay, I'm sorry. It's a bit of a disappointment tonight, but with all the videos that I've uploaded, I think it's coming to the time where I might have, after a while, the cults, I'm gonna have to stop broadcasting them because otherwise I'm gonna be repeating myself, and they're gonna try and stop me from bringing out the cults out because I think because there's other people that's covered them in different ways. So I'm not gonna push the boat out that far, After a while you have to reel it in a bit. So with that said, I'm gonna go. Have a good day, everybody. Have a good night. I'll see you. Bye.